Hello, clever people, and welcome to my review for Geostorm. So Geostorm comes to us from the producer of Independence Day Resurgence, and the 1998 Godzilla film. So, of course, he's just made tons of classics. And this film follows the story of a really smart scientist guy who's really smart, and he's so smart that they emphasize how intelligent and smart he is throughout. And it's about how he built this machine in space that controls the weather. So, in the sky, if there's a giant, rainstorm that's about to come down, they just send bombs into it and it blows up the really thick, heavy clouds, and then there's no rainstorm. And it just does little stuff like that, but it starts acting irrational, and it starts doing stuff that could threaten the entire world and cause a geostorm. And a geostorm is a giant storm that would range across the entire world and would kill millions and billions of people and would cause unreversible havoc. So, this premise has obviously been done before, the disaster film premise, the idea of one force ending the entire world and a bunch of people having to solve it. And it's overdone at this point. You've seen it so many times that this movie is going really for one main objective. It's just trying to be fun. It's trying to be a fun movie that people can go to and laugh at. And Geostorm does slightly provide that, but honestly, this is one of the worst films I have seen in a really long time. Definitely one of the worst films of the year, because it's inexcusable how bad this movie is. It just sucks. There's not a single idea or thought in this film that is anything close to or resembling intelligence or something worthwhile. The entire movie is just an amalgamation of scenes. Boring, drawn-out, long scenes that have no consequence because the characters are basically just blank faces meant to progress the story along. And it's not even that, there's not even that much destruction and havoc in it. It's really just a lot of things falling from the sky and bad things happening, but there's really not a whole lot of world-ending stuff. It's a lot of scientists running around trying to stop the world ending. So it can't even supply that. So what does this movie have? The answer is nothing. This movie really has absolutely nothing. It's hard to put words to how bad this movie is. You kind of just have to see it, because it's unbelievable that anybody would spend upwards of $100 million, and I believe that the production budget for it was upwards of $100 million. And if not, the fact that anybody would spend more than $5 million on a movie like this, and the fact that it made $13.3 million opening weekend, there's just clearly so many issues going on here. Every single scene in this movie, pretty much, has been seen before. Sometimes it'll get down to shot by shot, the same exact thing that you have seen before in disaster films before. This producer clearly has no creativity. He's just said, oh, I've worked with Roland Emmerich before. He's made a lot of films like this and this and this, and they've all been somewhat successful, so I'll just do that. And, a lot of them haven't been too successful, critically, but a lot of them did well financially, and that's probably all that was in his mind. This movie is literally just meant for the thought of pure destruction. Just death and people going through awful situations, and snowstorms going over Afghanistan and freezing people over, and heat coming out and causing people to sweat feverishly to the point that they start dying, and fire tornadoes, and just anything you could think of. They just try it, and none of it works because it's all terribly shot. The CGI for the most part looks okay, but beyond that it's nothing noticeable, and the action is boring. This movie can be fun to laugh at with friends, but at times it can be so unbelievably boring that you just want it to be over. This movie just makes me not want to do a review. I said that about Flatliners a little bit ago, and I know I probably am overusing that by saying it twice, within a month, but it's true. It's movies like these that have no purpose or reason for existing at all, and I don't really feel a reason to review, because what am I to say about this movie? I've said nothing. There's nothing to say about this movie. All it will do is exist. It will just float around in the film hemisphere and just purely only exist. It will be seen by a few, the Blu-ray will be bought by a few, it will continue on in theaters, it'll probably have a huge steep drop-off of 71% next weekend, and it'll just keep on doing worse and worse and worse until it disappears completely. This movie is nothing. It means nothing. It has no consequence. It has no characters. It has no development. This movie is rock bottom zero. Nothing at all. This is by far one of the worst movies I have seen all year. I hate it with everything inside of me. And that is why I will give Geostorm a 1.5 out of 10. Is this a good movie to laugh at with friends? Sure, you can do that, but as the movie goes on and on and on, eventually it just gets so stupid and asinine and cliched that there's no more fun to be had anymore, and you're just kind of sitting there waiting for it to be over, because God, is this movie long. It's like 2 hours, I think. No, I think it's like an hour and 45 minutes or something, but it feels way longer than that, and it has no reason to. This should be quick and fun if it is anything, and it is not that at all. Well, anyway, that concludes my review for Geostorm. I don't really care anymore. Whatever you think, comment below. I probably won't read it. I don't care about this movie. I want it to go away. I'm Robert Burke, and this has been The Clever Critics. Goodbye.